Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a overview or review of a pen that I got a little bit ago, and I posted about this on my Instagram already. And this is another Leonardo Momento Zero, and where I bought it, it was the blue-green, but when I Google it, blue-green is not really easy to find. There is a version that it's called like I Write Green. I think that's it. But I'll link it down below so you can see the proper name and like what it's actually called, where I bought it. It's on sale. I got seduced by the sale. That happens to me now and then. I'm basically, I got this a couple of weeks ago. I'm on a no buy right now, no pen buying for me, because of course I'm moving and I'm trying to keep as much money saved as I can because I won't have a job immediately in the States. So this is one of the last purchases for a while, and it's very pretty, but it was a very frustrating pen when I got it. I'll switch a shot and tell you more about it and tell you a little bit of what happened. So let's go do that now. All right, let's switch a shot. All right, here we have this beautiful Leonardo Momento Zero. It's the regular version again. My fiance has the Grande, and I like the Grande, but it's quite big for me, and this was on sale. I got it for $140, I believe, and I just fell in love with the combination of the blue-green. They had a rose gold trim of this, I believe, or a silver trim, which I would prefer, but it was on sale and I wanted a broad nib, and the only one with a broad nib they had was the gold trim. And honestly, it looks quite good with the green. I'm trying to show you the engraving in the barrel. It's number 19. So it's one of the earlier runs, apparently. And it has that very well-known Leonardo clip with the ball, the rolly thing. They do change the clip sometimes, so the current clip is more narrow, but the concept is still the same. So it's easily clippable to a shirt. There's this tiny dome on the top of the cap. There's 3 rings on the cap, and then there's a ring on the barrel where it screws in. It's a screw cap. And here then we have a blind cap that you can't unscrew, but honestly I wouldn't do it like this. I wouldn't ink my pen like this. You could. It's a converter in here. You could, but I wouldn't. It's just a blind cap that you can take off for some reason. And then we have the nib, gold colored broad nib, Leonardo. This is not the nib that the pen came with. I bought a different nib because when I got this pen, I got a broad nib that looked like it had no tipping at all. It was extremely, extremely unreliable. Couldn't really write with it, had baby's bottom. I was using a very wet ink. I cleaned the pen out properly before I started using it, but it was just not working. So I was fairly unhappy with it. I contacted the vendors. They were like, oh, we're happy to check out the nib. And I was kind of annoyed because they were like, oh, try different ink. And I know I was using a wet ink. Like, I know pens and I know how to deal with them. And like, I wanted a broad nib and they could look at the nib, but it wouldn't all of a sudden get more tipping. So I was like, meh, I'll just buy a new nib somewhere else. So that's what I did. Yes, I was kind of salty because I felt a little, like the tone of the email was a little insulting. I'm not gonna like see where I bought it, but I was just annoyed. Anyway, converter. It's a screw-in converter. You can't take it out. On my other video about the Momento Zero, I wasn't sure, but now I'm sure you can take it out. It's a screw one, so pay attention to that. Got this nib from Ackerman The Hague, which is a lovely store. I really love that store. And it's better, but it's still not perfect. So I know Leonardo had a bad run with their nibs in the earlier pens, but this is a new nib and it was still super like dry. I really have a very wet ink in here right now just to counteract that a little bit, but it's not my favorite. This is a steel nib. I have used their like giant gold nib and it was so good. So their gold nibs are exemplary. They're steel nibs. They do leave somewhat to be desired. Like, they're okay, but they can be over polished, and also the nib sizes don't run true in my opinion. Anyway, got this, was still very dry, inked it with a very wet ink, and now it's okay. It's usable and I enjoy it, but I still might get it looked at, or I want to be able to buy a separate gold nib. I haven't found a place here that does that, but there might be a place in the States. Anyway, enough rambling. I will zoom in on the paper. I'm using Tomoe River. This was a journal, but isn't anymore. It's just my writing sample place. I have it uncapped for a while now, so I don't know if it's gonna write immediately. Okay, there we go. Since it's all purple August, I have this inked with a purple, or what I would call a blurple, but I still count it as a purple. This is a Leonardo Momento 0, and it said green blue where I bought it, but I think it might be the I Ride green or whatever. I'll try to find a link to it below. It is a broad nib. It's the second nib I bought, which is sad. And then the ink is Diamine. As you can see, it sometimes skips on the downstroke. I would say that might be a little baby's bottom. So Diamine, Bilberry, which is one of my favorites. It's very sheeny. Yeah, and so it's true to size now, I would say, and it writes generally well. But I had it inked up with Mont Blanc Lavender Purple, which is not as wet as Bilberry, and it wasn't as great. So this is a good combination, but it's been kind of a pain to figure out, like, what do I ink this pen with? But it is surely a beauty. Like, this is a gorgeous pen. It cannot be denied. It is beautiful. But yeah, if you were to buy Leo or Leonardo, I would say see if you can find a store where you can test it out. Because I think testing the nib of a Leo is very, very necessary. So I went to Appelboom with my fiance once, and he got the Grande there, and he tested it, and it was great, you know. But that is just the way to go about it. You test the nib, then you know, okay, this is a good one. So yeah, mixed experiences, but a beautiful pen. Nothing to say about that. And yes, I am still happy with it. Right now, I am happy with this pen. Yeah. I hope you found this video informational. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I will get back to you at some point. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.